I'm going to go over a trade that I made today, but first I'm going to break down Apple. We ended the day at $182.68, down more than 0.5%. To the north side from where we are takes us to 2 standard deviations and resistance and a potential take profit area at 183.73. Above that, at 2 standard deviations and another level of resistance, 184.78, and at 4 standard deviations, 185.81. I never expect price to hit 4 standard deviations in one day, and if we do, I will definitely anticipate a pullback. Now, at the middle of the trend and support in this case takes us to 181.59. If we hit that line, I will anticipate people buying the dip. If we continue to go south at -2 standard deviations, that would be roughly 179.52. Also another level of support, 178.45 and 177.42. Obviously a lot of levels in between as well. Now, this is a gap that I am tracking that will take us to roughly 183.39. And this gap takes us to roughly 185.72, and that would line up with 4 standard deviations. Now this gap that I've been tracking closed out today. I will extend that, and it touched, actually it closed out on Tuesday. So this is no longer in play, no longer a threat to our account to the south side. And there is another gap all the way down here that I am tracking. We are not in the channel, not in the zone, but something to be aware of if we continue to go down. And if you think we're going to go into a recession, price could eventually close out to the downside at roughly 164.13. I will mark that out very quickly. 164. Oh, wait a minute. I meant to change the color, not the price. But while I'm at it, I'll just do this. This will take a while to get there if we do, but according to the analysts, our 1-year price target is 198.20, which represents an 8.5% return from where we are. Obviously, many trades in between to get to the north side and to the south side. The RSI is going down on the 5-minute time frame. The next one I want to go over is Tesla. I'm in Apple and Tesla. We ended the day at $215.55, down nearly 2%. There's a gap that we are very close to closing out. I think we could do that on Thursday. So we ended right here. To the north side takes us to resistance and a potential take profit area. And at 3 standard deviations, pretty much close to where this gap closes out, let's just say 219.83. And at 4 standard deviations, roughly 221.77. If we get to this line, I will definitely expect price to fall because we will be at resistance. Back down to support takes us to roughly 212.57, 207.96, 205.71, and 203.29. And there are many gaps to the south side with Tesla. Something to be aware of. We are not in the channel, not in the zone just yet, but looking left, all the gaps that I have pointed out to the downside have fulfilled, have closed out. So these are no longer a threat to our count to the south side. We got to take care of this. And there are other ones. Don't want to scare you, but just be aware. It could be a buying opportunity to get in if you are not in and deciding where to jump in. Pull out to the daily, the weekly, and the monthly, and you will see the gaps. And if you can be patient, wait for price to come to you. Otherwise, there are some trades to the upside as well, but within -2 and 2 standard deviations is a more conservative trade. But if you're down here and the price goes to here, this is one area where you can jump off and lock in your profits, lock it in and leave, and then to the next leg up at 2 standard deviations. We may never get there, but we could, and that's extra profit as well. And note the RSI is almost 70. And if we do go up, it could go up to 70, a little higher, and then fall right back down to eventually down to 30. Looking left on the RSI, look at the buy-in down here. Oversold, touched 70, almost there. And so I will anticipate this to hit up here somewhere and then promptly fall back down. The next one I'm going to go over is a recap very quickly of TDG. I just talked about this on Tuesday, the 16th. Today, again, is the 17th. But I pointed out a gap that begins at 1028.94, closes out at 1032.53. And this morning, we closed it out right there. I want to remove that. So that is no longer in play. But look at this. We ran up all the way to resistance. And what happens at resistance? People take their profits and they lock in and they leave. And look at that. All the way back down. This is support, a bounce off support. And then we didn't quite make it to -2. It doesn't always happen. Turn on VWAP, and you can see also where a potential buy-in as well. Turn on the bots, your Bollinger Bands, or your trend lines, but we are on our way to the middle of the trend. That's a pretty safe bet, pretty conservative. If you're down here and you ride it to here, you could get off the gravy train, lock in your profits. So your price targets now to the middle of the trend is 1034.93, 1043.76, 1047.80 roughly, and 1052.06. To the south side, 1026.17, 1022.08, 1017.68. I like the upward channel there. So we are seeing higher highs and lower highs as well. And the 1-year price target is $1,116.67, an 8% return from where we are. The next one I want to go over is PayPal. We ended the day at $59.89, up nearly 2.5%. The 1-year price target is $72.24. This stock has fallen from grace. I'm also in PayPal. And if we make the 1-year price target, that would be a 20% return from where we are. Speaking of where we are at resistance at 3 standard deviations. That will take us to roughly a gap at 60.27. and that gap takes us out to 4 standard deviations, and that is $60.97 roughly. If we hit this area, we could go a little bit more, and then I will anticipate it to crack and go to the downside. To the south side at 2 standard deviations, and from where we are up here going down takes us to support 59.40. We could see a bounce off of that if we go down, which I will anticipate. The middle of the trend and the baseline where all stocks will come and go through 57.79. And also note the lines change here because the calculations are it is recalculated every 5 minutes, whatever time frame that you are in. The 1 minute, the 5 minute, the 15. All right. The middle of the trend again, roughly 57.81. And -2 standard deviations and another level of support, 56.16. A gap forms to the south side at -3 standard deviations, 55.44, and 54.55 is -4 SD, and this closes out at 54.41. RSI is overextended. I will anticipate again this to possibly go up some more and then fall right back down to eventually get back down to 30, but that could be days away. But it will happen. And if it does, hopefully this will close out so that it is no longer a threat to us to the south side. But watch out for this landmine right here. And there are other gaps too. I'll have to look for that in a different video and mark it out. And finally, I want to go over a trade that I made, Ebix. Oops. Oh, Ebix was what it was previously before it became EBIXQ. This stock has fallen from grace. Let me change out. Oh, this is on the daily. And if you notice, the TradingView changed the calculations for the linear, and I hate it. It's terrible on the bigger time frames. It doesn't work anymore. I don't like it. So if you're trying to figure out price ranges and targets, I think your better bet is using the Bollinger Bands or the Fibonacci or trend lines, whatever you like to use. All right, let's go over this trade. First, we ended the day at 238, up more than 6%. The 1 year price target is, oh no, they don't have a 1 year price target now because it's fallen, like I said, from grace. And I'll just give you targets for Thursday. So to the north side, 268, 283, and 299 to the north side. If we hit those levels, I will anticipate a pullback because we will be hitting resistance up here. People will be locking in their profits and leaving. And to the south side, back to the middle of the trend and the baseline, 235 and support. Another level of support, 203. 188, 172 is your target. If we make it down to this level, and this level, I will anticipate a bounce off of support. Now the RSI going down, but once we hit this level, I will anticipate a buy-in when we reach 30 and then start to rebound because there will be a rebound. Now, I bought in here on the 11th for $2.10. I sold out today at $2.65. I put in a sell order on Tuesday, January the 16th. That's when I always put in a sell order the night before. I usually split the difference and I push it to the edge where I will sell out between 3 and 4 standard deviations, and sometimes we never get there, and then the stock cracks on me and then I hold it for longer. That's just something that I do, But if you want to play conservatively, obviously you just get out at 2 standard deviations where price hits all day long. Note the sell-off here at resistance, starting at 2 and then almost making it up to 3. All right, for my return, since I bought in at 210, obviously I could have bought in at a better price, but didn't because I didn't catch it. So we reached a high today of 274. So if I had gotten out at 274, that would have been a 30% return. I only got 265. I only got a 26.69% return. So I am happy about that. Could I have made more money and watched it and micromanaged it? I could have, and I didn't. But so I'm happy with what I got. And the most bizarre thing is I set the sell limit at 265, and for some reason I could not find my shares when I was looking at it, and price was only at $2.36. So for some reason Fidelity sold off my shares. Maybe somebody needed it more than I did since I had that sell limit in. Maybe somebody paid for locates. I don't know what happened, but I was happy about that because price did not catch up to 265, for a little while. I put the order again at 265 and I could not find my shares when I looked for it. Very bizarre. So if you know the explanation, please let me know. But I will no longer be in this trade because I play pretty conservatively until we are down here, here, or here. Other people can play higher up here, but that's not my style. But just so that you know, a board director of some kind bought $376,000 worth of Ebix on, I believe it was November sometime in 2023. And I believe I looked it up, he bought more than, 400,000 shares at 92 cents. So he's making some money right now. Who knows if he has sold any, but there's no Form 4 yet. But I was trading this when it was $14 in the $20 range. This stock, again, has fallen from grace. It's in bankruptcy, so it's very volatile. You may not want to play it. Set a stop loss if you do, but I'm comfortable doing it. But there are better trades out there for you to dabble in. But that's just something I do with this stock because I've traded it probably 5 or 6 times. And they got delisted. Now it's EBIXQ instead of EBIX. All right, that's a look at Ebix, PayPal, Transdime, Tesla, and Aapl. Thank you so much for watching.